Hi, how you feeling
Hello.
today?
I'm all over the place. I got to answer that question next week for you. How are you doing?
I'm amazing. I'm Tammy with Hustle and Soul Magazine. Play, it's an honor to interview you today, Black King. We are proud of you. We want to salute you and tribute you as an icon that you are in hip hop and pop culture. So definitely thank you so much for your value time today.
Oh, no,
You're
the pleasure's all mine. Thank you and yours for your time today. I know it's equally, if not more important than mine. So thank you.
you're very welcome. Now your documentary debuted on International Dance Day and I Dance. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's still fresh and fairly new. So for those who have not viewed it yet and going to
Mhm.
see it soon, what can they expect?
Well, a good time, in this age of us needing and wanting a good time and maybe looking back on things that we had and maybe we didn't appreciate them as much as we could have because we didn't think of days and culture or atmosphere and climate that we're all going through right now, that opportunity that what the music has been known to do for us and events, some form of escapism. So if you like the verses and you like the club quarantine with my dude D Nice and stuff, this is a cinematic contribution to that in regards to going down memory lane. And for those who don't know anything about that lane, to be able to learn some history in a very fun and entertaining way. So to give also, more importantly, flowers to those that are still alive to receive the flowers. 3 have passed since I've produced
Mm,
this documentary, but
wow.
most of them are very much alive and doing their thing. So it's about flowers as well.
Now, speaking of history within a documentary, now I watched it and not to give anything away, but one thing in particular, at the beginning of the documentary, I seen a guy moonwalking. Now, this had been way back in the day. I was like, now it's not me, some Michael Jackson now. But it was just history jewels within that. So I just absolutely love the documentary for sure. How hard or easy was it to get everyone involved? I know people who know you personally, no one's going to say no to play, but
Hmm.
everyone had different schedules and things going on. So what was the process of getting everyone included?
Well, first, I want to say thank you for that acknowledgement of what you noticed in the beginning, because it was for that purpose, pretty much, was to be able to let people know that, that there's nothing new under the sun. So you're looking at the early days of getting a camera to film something and to see those moves in black and white from that era of the 30s and stuff, to see them doing those moves. And you're like, wait, I thought so-and-so made that up. I thought so-and-so did that. So that was a historical reference. But it took a while. It was over 7 years that a couple of people have reminded me since this journey in production began, only because, I had to find everybody. I want to thank the 2 co-producers involved with the piece. Um, Danielle Ortiz, who represented for me on the West Coast, coordinated things for me on the West Coast, and Shane Johnson Bob, who coordinated things for me on the East Coast. And then my co-executive producer is Cheryl Salt James. But with that, it just so happened when I began to embark upon creating this documentary, Kid and I were just starting on the I Love the 90s tour. There was only going to be for like about 2 weeks to a month, ended up being well over 5-6 years. And it gave me the opportunity, see how God works, to be able to be in coordination with Shane and Danielle in regards to where I was going to be at the next city, find out who may live there, and then be able to seize the opportunity of getting an interview with him. If you've noticed in most of the, well, I don't call them interviews, the conversations,
Mhm.
that it took place in a controlled environment, which would be my hotel suite, where most of the interviews took place. And then other parts was on locations, meeting other artists while we're doing shows with them, like with Genuine and Omarion and Danny Lee and Seven Streeter. Those was all during shows that Kid and I were doing with them, and for them to be nice enough to kick it with me backstage about the subject matter.
Absolutely. What went into getting it distributed on the Streamways platform? Was that a collaboration? Is that the only way that viewers can watch it right now?
No, well, that's the way I wanted it for now. The owner of that streaming platform is Ron Lawrence, who is a former Bad Boy hitman producer. He literally produced Biggie's Notorious, one of Jay-Z's most street credited records, Where I'm From, Foxy Brown. He did The Locks, Money, Power, Respect, all of those, and taking the fruits from his labor, as I did with mine, but him, and creating the streaming platform that will be available to up and coming and other filmmakers that might not catch a break with Netflix or Hulu or anything for the time being. For me, I wanted this to be a gift. I didn't want it to be for sale. I didn't
Mm,
want any money to be between the experience of the documentary and the viewer. So that was the thing that was great about doing it on streamways.com, was for it to be free, totally free to any and everyone with no strings attached.
I love it. And they get jewels dropped from a legend, from an icon within this documentary for sure. Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about Bigger. Amazing show on BT Plus. Will Packer produces. You play Julius. How did you get involved in the TV series?
They reached out to me to want to know if I was interested in the part. Of course, they did a reading over Zoom at the time because we were right in COVID. But yeah, it all worked out. I had the bug. I've had the bug for a minute now, but I wasn't interested in really going out full throttle to do, casting calls and stuff like that. And by no means saying that I'm better than anybody. It's just, that's just not how serious I was about it. I'm living my bucket list now, and thank God it's not based on any negative doctor's report. But there's some things that I feel so more than fortunate and blessed enough to still be alive to maybe to journey and to check out. And one of them has been, as people approach me at one of the many movie heights of Kid and Play, there were people who had approached me about me considering doing things on my own, but I would turn it down for the sake of loyalty to the friendship and the group. But now that we're grown and we're, grown men and experimenting with things that we like to do individually, I'd always been curious about the possibility of what things would be like as acting on my own. So everything kind of worked out, or what they would call the stars aligned. And I was just so grateful for Robbie Reed, the casting director, of Felicia, I don't want to say her last name and butcher it, the creator and showrunner, and Will Packard, of course. And we had a good time with even the COVID police around and doing that. And to have that kind of recurring role for as long as I am on in it and stuff was really humbling. So I really appreciate the opportunity. And I hope, people, the viewers, enjoy it.
Yes, I definitely enjoyed it. I said, play still got it. Look at play. Go ahead.
The
Go
only thing
ahead.
about it was I misunderstood the theme of the show when it said bigger. I was in the middle of enjoying COVID, so I was looking forward to when it was time for me to act, to get back in the gym and work out. So they kind of caught me on the bigger. So I said, okay, good. It's called Bigger, but it's like that's not what bigger was about. So now I'm part of a project called Smaller. So I'm working on getting smaller.
That is so funny, and you're doing
Mhm.
great. You look great. Melanin
Thank
is
you.
real, okay?
Mhm.
That melanin suits you very well, Play. Now, you
Thank you.
mentioned about the friendship between you and Kid, legendary hip hop group. You are pioneers in hip hop and movies and dance, and you do amazing things collectively and individually. What keeps the friendship intact?
Because it comes from a very organic and real place. There was no casting call for who's going to be Kid and who's going to be Play, and here's this relationship on and off screen or off and on the microphone. So for us to do what we were on the same page to aspire to do and to achieve that, but we don't have to think twice about what the other one thinks, or we know each other well. So the thing is that, it's funny, anytime we need to have that time to kind of take a break, it's not forced by it's not inspired by any argument or anything like that. We just know, it's just, we don't even have to say it. We just know that it's time to take a break, which doesn't happen very often. He's in LA, I'm on the East Coast. So it's like, we got miles between us. But no, I couldn't think of anybody else to achieve what we've achieved together. I couldn't even imagine who that other face or that name or person would be. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. And I'm so glad that you two have that understanding in the industry that sometimes can tear people apart. And it's okay to do things on your own and bring it
Mhm.
back home. And it's bigger than the industry. You have a friendship bond, you're like family. It's just beautiful. Um,
Right.
For sure. Let's talk about some iconic films, the House Party franchise, class act for
Mhm.
sure. Why do you think these movies have stood the test of time, are still iconic to this day?
Because they resonate with friendships, even I'm sure we'll get to it, but I'll just fast forward a little bit. One of the things that's very symbolic with us is our kick step.
Yes.
I've been amazed with how long the staying power of that dance has been. And when I ask, I have my intimate conversations with my manager, my lawyer, my accountant, and my agent, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And when I speak to them, I say, "Well, how is this dance staying around so long?" Because when the Dougie came along and the Nay Nay and all of these, I'm like, okay, it's time to retire. The kick step is going to come to an end, but no, it always
Not at
stays around.
all.
And he answered that question. That's the one dance out of hip hop dances, or any dance, maybe for the most part of its kind, it takes two people to do. All the other dances you can do by yourself. But when you're celebrating a marriage, celebrating a score in sports, a major
Yep.
achievement, and you want to do a dance to it that involves the other person you want to celebrate or you're celebrating, you do that dance,
Gonna do the kid and play kick step. Yes,
Yeah,
my son is
so
11 and I do
yes,
it with him.
right. So that's symbolic of the movies and the things we've done, because I believe the friendship has resonated with many. Whether it's by myself or with kid, and he says the same. It's always people coming up saying, "Yo, when I was younger," or even last week, me and my boy, or me and my, even with Salt and Pepper, me and my girl, they always refer to kid and play in regards to somebody saying to them they reminded them of us. So the friendship and the representation of that in better days or young days that people can remember or still going through in their lives today. I think that's what does it a lot.
Absolutely, and I agree wholeheartedly. I love the films, and the world does as well. Definitely legendary, iconic, memorable pieces of work in our pop culture. What was it like working with the Hugland brothers? I've met and interviewed Warrington before. Legendary guys in the film industry. What was it like working with them?
It was good. It was great. It was new territory for us because, we had done so much in music, touring. Every time we toured, right after we toured, it was time to do a movie. After the movie, it'd be time to tour. So the thing with the first time we did it, I guess we went into, I know I did, with the mentality of, oh, it's like a long, drawn out music video. But no, it's a different animal. And it was a very priceless experience. And the brilliance of Warrington and Reggie Hudlin, of how they chose and the vision they had for the movie, proven to be true. What a lot of people don't realize, in that movie, there's not one time where it's a mention of what city we're in. They did that on purpose because they wanted subliminally or subconsciously anybody to look at that movie and it could be their home, it could be their city or their town. If you would have went ahead and said New York or Detroit or whatever like that, it's going to put a certain kind of thing to it, like Detroit does this but you don't want that to happen. So, and then times where it was like, we had the structure of that would be called a script, but some of the lines weren't really as authentic or as real at the time, the way certain things would be said. So Reggie gave us the opportunity to say, well, say it the way Play would say it, that kind of thing, like that. So that was very cool on his part, being a actor's director, so to speak.
Can we be on the lookout for another house party or anything in the works with you and kids?
You never say never, but right now, for those who would love a house party or something like it, you have LeBron James coming out with the house party reboot that's in the works
Hey,
right now.
yes.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully everybody will enjoy that. But as for me, I'm just really into what I have learned along the way. I'm very much into cinematography, and you know, and I danced is a production of that, and see where else things lead and stuff like that. But for me right now, I'm trying to live my bucket list and enjoy the fruits of my labor, all together.
Well deserved for sure. We love the music, we love the films, we love the swag, we just love you play. What for you are some memorable moments in your career?
Well, there's quite a bit of them. Like right now, currently, it's like this getting this documentary done was a major achievement. 7, close to 8 years in the making. So this right here is really a combination of so many things in my life that kind of came into that, and other future things that I have, in store in the near and future. But meeting who we've met. I'm a big. I don't like using the word fan because fan is short for the word fanatic,
Right.
but a big lack of a better word, fan or admirer, big of Earth, Wind and Fire. So meeting
Yes.
them, Maurice White, when I did was crazy. Knowing and friendship with Michael Jordan. In regards to my fashion and designing endeavors, friend and Dapper Dan, people that I had admired and find it so amazing to know. It's just humbling. I remember this has happened a couple of times. I remember having lunch not too long ago with Suzanne DePass, famous for Motown,
Wow.
Berry
Yes.
Gordy's right hand person. And we're all having lunch together. And I was sitting next to her. We were waiting for a meeting we were doing in LA with someone all together. So we're having lunch to kill the time. And she says, pass me a menu. And I feel like the Lord gave me this brief but still impactful out of body experience, because I'm like, yo, I'm sitting here having lunch with Suzanne DePass. And on top of that, Suzanne DePass just said, pass me a menu. And
Okay.
I don't take things for granted. I said it to her out loud. I was like, yo, I told her what I was feeling, and we're close. She just said, shut up, pass me the menu. So that, and I've done the same thing with, even on another end of the spectrum, not lower, just different, extremes, with even a friend, Big Daddy Kane. Times I've kid around with him, but I was serious. They're just like, yo, I'm sitting here kicking it with Big Daddy Kane, but we've known each other forever, with friends. So friends don't like to don't feel comfortable hearing that from the other. But I'm just needing to say that to myself, saying it to God and to the person I'm referring to, that I'm not taking these experiences for granted. It's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And I came to a point where I let life almost pass me by that quick. And I'm glad to be able to have, a time to get this bucket list in, so to speak.
Well, I must say, off the record play, I feel like right now I'm having an out of body experience interviewing you. I'm 35. I grew up off you. I grew up off Kid. Like I watch your films, listen to your music with my big brother. He's in his 50s now. And when I told him I was going to interview you, he screamed through the phone. It's like, you truly are an icon, and it is an honor to interview you today. From the bottom of my heart, like, wow, seriously.
Well, I thank you. That's humbling and it means a lot. I don't take that for granted. It's like, I thank you for taking the time to help me get the word out about this piece that I think a lot of people will enjoy. And it's inspiring too, because one of the notes that I definitely wanted to hit in this was, hopefully the subliminal or subconscious message is to meet these women that didn't have to do anything to uh to be able to conflict with what their parents instilled in them, morals and things like that.
Yes.
All of them danced and got the positions they got from dancing with anyone from all of the hip hop legends, going on to dancing with Whitney Houston, Prince, Madonna, Michael Jackson, and the list goes on. And they got the job because of skills. They didn't get the job because of overt sexuality. So I always say, a joke is like, when, excuse me, we were doing a lot of that stuff, those girls, women, were wearing oversized baggy clothes, because that was the era of Carl Kanai, African American collegiate line, and then also cross colors. So it was real baggy. It wasn't until the holiday or industry parties that people would give for the holidays that these girls that dance with us and others would put on their little black dress. And we're like, whoa, where did that shape come from? Because we never knew it at the time, because they always kind of did the baggy oversized thing. So it wasn't about that. Um, so just really the hopefully the inspiration of upcoming dancers, women and guys alike, to see what can actually take place when you're, about that, about your business.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, did you feel like women was a huge part in dance? within hip hop in the early days. And I'm glad that you mentioned about them not having, over sexualize themselves to get in the industry. A lot of them are trained, are beloved, worked hard, became choreographers for the top music artists in the world. So thank you so much for touching on women inclusiveness within the hip hop and dance industry, for
Well, the
sure.
interesting thing about that too, as well, is most of them, as you remember, had confessed to the fact that they weren't trained professional dancers. They came with the rawness and just the drive to just make it
Yep.
happen no matter what, and kind of like getting skilled along the way. But at the same time, their skills was teaching the professionals new things. So it was just a real interesting time in regards to when you were dealing with hip hop and the rawness and what the streets were doing as far as dance and partying and all that stuff, to actually have them contribute that, where directors and producers didn't know. They would have come in maybe with a, more of a ballet type thing, not knocking that or whatever, more uniform, but no, they really appreciated and could see the rawness in it and what it represented, that what people were really doing at the parties and in the streets and all of that, at the block parties.
Yes, for sure. I have a couple more questions for you, Play. Oh
Sure.
my gosh, thank you so much for your time today. What do you think is the state of the music industry? What's missing? What do you like?
Um, I don't know. I'm so immersed. I'm such a nerd into technology and cameras and lenses and the latest devices. So I'm usually like immersed in watching reviews and tutorials and stuff on that. And when I do surface and see what's going on, there's a lot of me usually saying, "Who is that? They did what?" Things like that. I can appreciate the creativity, the courage to, like and Maya Angelou said, to have the courage to fail. From what I see
Yes,
with some artists and stuff, um, I just would hope for more diversity, so to speak. For me, when I would watch, then when radio and artists would come on, when Heavy D came on, you knew it was Heavy D. When Arrested Development came on, you knew it was Arrested Development. Public
yes,
Enemy. Everyone had a sound and an identity. I find when I listen, or I have the opportunity to listen, I sometimes don't know when one artist began and the other one um, stopped. When it comes to a mixtape or blending or just nonstop continuous music, I can't tell. And maybe I'm not listening hard enough, but it's just, for me, I can't see, I can't hear the individuality the way I knew hip hop at one time. You know.
no, that's deep, and I agree wholeheartedly for sure. Play, we are still in unprecedented times with the pandemic, as though things are starting to get back on track. There's a lot of people who aspire to become a documentarian, a comedian, an actor, a writer, a music artist, everything that you have accomplished within your iconic career. They may not have the resources, the connections, or just scared to just jump and do it. What would you say to them?
Well, don't give up. You know, Kid and I persevered through so much that felt like forever. And looking back at it, it was not a very long period compared to the time when we made it. But you can't give up. But what I would say even deeper than that is, be sure about what you're doing it for. Because if you're not doing it for the right reasons or something that's really in your heart, it's not going to be a very pleasurable trip, because your agenda and your motives aren't what you need for this to be effortlessly. You're still going to go through tough times. You're going to go through rejection. You're going to go through some things. But when you're meant to do this, even to the point where you may give up, but 2 days later, you're back at it again, it's for you. But if it's for the women, for materialistic things, it's nothing really wrong with that. It's just in regards to the fact that it just really won't hold water when it's all said and done, because there's going to be an area you're going to hit, or season, where you'll need that realness and that trueness and your dedication to the craft to help you persevere. If you don't have that, it's going to be tormenting. It's not going to be a feel good experience. you know
Now that is Jules for the day from the one and only Play. Icon, legend, Black King, Hustle and Soul Magazine salutes you. Thank you so, so much. Congratulations again on In Our Dance documentary. Tell them again, where can they see it?
well, it's on Streamways which is spelled STREAMWAZE, Z as in zebra, ways.com. Or you can go to my IG handle or my page, which is the_playgrounds with a Z at the end. You can tell we love Z's. I don't know, is it showing on my box, my name? Because
The playgrounds. Yep.
yeah, that's my IG, the_playgrounds with a Z at the end. And that has a direct link in my bio. You can go right there with no problems. Or you can go to Streamways, WAZE.com, and that way, absolutely free, no strings attached.
Thank you so much, Play. I cannot wait to write this article. We're going to release it next week and give you a digital cover as well. Off the record, Play, one of my best friends, her name is Sandra. She's a huge fan of yours. Could you please say hi, Sandra, so I can send this to her? She just loves you.
Hello, Sandra. This is Play, the fellow with the low top fade. I just want to take this time to say hello. I hope you're well in these times, to you, your family. And I just want to thank you for your support and thank you for what I hear is your love. But again, it's the P to the L to the A to the Y, just here to say hi. Love you.
Thank you, Play. Thank you. God bless you, King. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.